welcome back. Did you enjoy your trip away? It wasn't long. I know you miss this dang-a-lay. You addicted, admit it, that's why you come my way. I got you hooked and that's why I gave you the first for free. My, look who coming by. I could hear the clicking of your Louis from a mile. Oh wow, girl, you getting wild. Think you gonna need to turn it down. Cause baby, what you want from me? Why you always on one? I thought you was done with me, but I guess that was just round one. The way you are, I can't believe I would think that I was getting bumped. Show me country, bring the cameras up. Not knocking on my door like you were opposite.
Okay, cigarettes on the table.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Girl, quit hating me with fables. I ain't seen you working part-time out of stables.
Where you been at?
Cause I still write my shit on paper. Anyway, I need a scoop. What's the tea? Oh, we still playing hide and seek. I've been trying to find some peace, but as you see, I always keep on finding you. But shit, that's fine with me. When you come and play so cheap, I just hope the chase is worth it. Only reason I'm around is cause we been running in circles. Came addicted in the interim, just hope you cut me slack. Dropped a couple pounds, but I know I'll gain them back. I hope it's your favorite track. Hope you'll pop out, see me live. If you let me know what time, I'll be at the door in 5. Hit the road and make the drive. All this time you had me trapped in your sickness. I make it out and then I'm back in remission. I hope you get it when I say, I swear it feel like
knocking on my door like you were opposite. Yeah. Welcome back. Did you enjoy your trip away? It wasn't long. I know you miss this thing alay. You addicted, admit it. That's why you come my way. I got you hooked, and that's why I gave you the first for free. My, look who coming by. I could hear the clicking of your Louis from a mile. Oh wow, girl, you getting wild. Think you gonna need to turn it down. 'Cause baby, what you want from me? Why you always on one? I thought you was done with me, but I guess that was just round one. The way you are, I can't believe I would think that I was getting bumped. Show me country, bring the cameras up. Not knocking on my door like you were opposite.
Okay, cigarettes on the table.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Girl, go ahead and me with fables. I ain't seen you working part-time out of Staples.
Where you been at?
Cause I still write my shit on paper. Anyway, I need a scoop. What's the scoop? Oh, what's the tea? Oh, we still playing hide and seek. I've been trying to find some peace, but as you see, I always keep on finding you. But shit, that's fine with me. When you come and play so cheap, I just hope the chase is worth it. Only reason I'm around is cause we been running in circles. Came addicted in the interim, just hope you cut me slack. Dropped a couple pounds, but I know I'll gain them back. I hope it's your favorite track. Hope you'll pop out, see me live. If you let me know what time, I'll be at the door in 5. Hit the road and make the drive. All this time you had me trapped in your sickness. I make it out and then I'm back in remission. I hope you get it when I say, I swear it feel like
song.
All right. Well, I think if the audio is working and everything, we're ready to go. We'll get started. Really want to thank everybody, including our audience, for joining us. We're very excited to have our panelists with us today. With this piece, very excited also for our guest, along with our virtual and in-person audiences that we're making a connection through Facebook Live. So this is being broadcast with Facebook Live. With that piece, we'd also like to thank Bloomington Public Schools for hosting this at Kennedy Senior High and the partners that we have. All right, is that better? Ooh, yeah, all right. And so with that, many partners work together in collaboration to make this event possible today. The Minnesota Tech Association, CS for All Minnesota, SciMath PLTW, or Project Lead the Way, Genesis Works, all partnering together for today's event to make it happen. In addition to that, from MinTech, a special thank you to Ishmael Ali, who's really been behind the scenes and continues to be by taking pictures and video today. We couldn't do it with the collaboration from all these folks, as well as the panelists who are joining us today, which we'll get ready to meet here in just a few minutes. In addition to that, to kind of kick us off with a welcome message and really talk about these exciting experiences in a job sector that is growing at a rapid rate and one of the fastest growing sectors here in Minnesota with career opportunities for all students. I'd like to introduce Jim Davney. Jim Davney is an executive director of the SciMath Minnesota STEM Education Advocacy Group. He previously has taught middle school for 17 years. He served on the Minnesota House of Representatives for 22 years with a specific focus on education throughout his service. He has just retired this last January. Jim remains a strong advocate and continues to work to support STEM education, including computer science, and is currently supporting several initiatives to bring opportunities to Minnesota students and teachers across the state, and with his work at SciMath and beyond. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Jim Davney. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Vic, thank you for that kind introduction. I want to join in your thank you to our organizers and our sponsors today. Big shout out to the MinTech Association. They have picked up the issue of computer science opportunity and K-12 education and really driven the issue, which we'll touch on more today. But their leadership and their collaboration has been key. But you know, one of the things we know is you don't travel alone. Or if you want to travel well, you travel with others. And so I want to thank also our fellow sponsors and collaborators on this, CS for All Minnesota, Project Lead the Way, Genesis Works, and of course the Bloomington Public Schools. SciMath Min, as Vic mentioned, is Minnesota's STEM Education Advocacy organization. We aim to serve as a collaborator and a catalyst in building STEM education opportunity across the state. We work with people across sectors to do that and are proud and excited to be part of this effort for Computer Science for All this year. In education, we know a couple of things. We know that education should prepare young people for adulthood in a number of different ways. That means a lot of things, but that preparation for career and college, for meaningful work and opportunity, is a key part of that preparation. We know that technology is an increasingly important part of that future. And it's not just the future, it's today. We know that there are jobs today that didn't exist 10 years ago. Talk to the Mayo Clinic about the services they're able to provide to the sick because of technology that they have today that they didn't hardly even dream of 10 years ago. And then we know that that same thing is going to be true again in 10 years. That there are going to be jobs that exist in 10 years that those of us in this room don't know about today, but that will be present and possible to solve problems that we can't solve today. And they're all technology jobs. The technology is the answer to so much of the challenges we have. It's how we're going to solve so many of the problems that we see. And the more diverse the people around the developer table, when it comes to creating those new technologies, the better the answers to the problems that we have. We also know that Minnesota, no matter how much we try to pride ourselves on our education system, ranks 50th in the nation when it comes to computer science education opportunity. 50th. That's not how we think of ourselves in Minnesota, but it is where we're at. So I really want to credit the students and the teachers who are here today in the auditorium and joining us online, or who might be watching this panel discussion later via YouTube, for demonstrating the interest, demonstrating the boldness, demonstrating the vision of being part of computer science opportunities today. We can do better, and SciMath Min is committed to being part of doing better and advocating with our partners, the partners on the screen and others this year at the legislature, to build that opportunity. That advocacy at the legislature starts tomorrow with a Coding at the Capitol event, where students and teachers will take over the Capitol Rotunda, will be under that beautiful dome, and will demonstrate to legislators who, believe me when I say very few of them know what it is you're able to do, but will demonstrate to those legislators what they can do, how they can do it, and why it's important to move Minnesota forward on computer science education this year. Those opportunities should be available to all of our students across the state, regardless of zip code and regardless of identities. 10 a.m. tomorrow, Capitol Rotunda. I'm looking forward to what we can build this year together. The Bloomington Public Schools, our hosts today, and thank you for that, are leaders in computer science education. We're grateful for their willingness to host this event today and to serve as a model for other districts on how to build computer science opportunities into your offerings. I'm pleased to introduce Alexandra Holter, the computer science coordinator here at the Bloomington Public Schools, to facilitate the next part of the program. Alexandra?
Hi, thanks again for joining us today. We're very excited to host this event. Running tight on time, so I'm going to adjust my script here. So in Bloomington, we do pride ourselves on being Minnesota's leader for K-12 computer science education. And we start this with computer science immersion in our elementary and middle schools because the time to build a computing identity is when we're young. Our computer science schools provide a deep, immersive experience centered on building logic and problem-solving skills through creative exploration and joy. For students who aren't in our immersion school, our CS for All pathway provides broad exposure to computer science for all students with integrated experiences and classroom activities throughout the year. We also offer both introductory and advanced courses in grades 9 through 12, including cybersecurity, AP Computer Science, Data Science, and Robotics. And we are one of the few districts in Minnesota offering online AP Computer Science through New Code Academy. Our goal in both pathways is to empower students to joyfully and creatively solve real-world challenges through computer science. Our pathways are built on 3 pillars: skills, equity, and joy. Using these 3 pillars, we believe K-12 computer science programs should aim to introduce students to fundamentals of computer science, develop problem-solving and critical thinking skills through the application of knowledge in real-world scenarios, teach students how to use technology effectively and responsibly, and encourage students to pursue further study and careers in computer science and related fields. Technology intersects every field and every profession, and our goal is to prepare students to thrive in a rapidly changing, technology-driven world. In addition to events like this, we make this happen through partnerships, like our partnership with GenesisWorks. The mission of GenesisWorks is to provide pathways to career success for high school students in underserved communities through skills training, meaningful work experiences, and impactful relationships. We're extremely fortunate to have Corey LaShawn Boyd here today, the Community Outreach Specialist. So Corey is a proud black body male who hails from Evanston, Illinois. He is a devoted husband to his beautiful wife, Kia, and proud father of 3 wonderful growing children, Ryan, Cassidy, and Corey. He is an ordained deacon at Fellowship Missionary Baptist Church on the north side of Minneapolis. He identifies as a human being and is always willing to engage others around the topics of culture in workplace and community engagement. Corey is the second born of 5 children. Corey was raised by his grandmother, Ermine S. Wright Ruff, and his auntie mommy, Muriel. Corey is a graduate of Evanston Township High School. He earned his bachelor's degree in organizational management and leadership from North Park University in Chicago. He also earned his Master's of Arts degree in strategic leadership from Bethel University in Arden Hills, Minnesota. Corey is also working on obtaining his MBA. What this doesn't tell you is that Corey was diagnosed with a learning disability at an early age. It impacted the way he viewed school and led to his having academic difficulties. It was an excuse he needed to make the wrong decisions and attempt to lead a life that was not made for him. After years of trying to fit in, he decided it was time to stand out and walk in his purpose. He was introduced to working with youth by way of coaching football. His father was the inspiration for that. Now he seeks to inspire youth by letting them know that it is not okay, He seeks to inspire youth by letting them know that it is okay to not know. However, he doesn't want them to use that as an excuse to give up on themselves, nor their dreams. He wants youth to understand that you must ask for help, utilize resources, and do your research. Accountability is critical in your pursuit for success. Corey is currently the Community Outreach Specialist with GenesisWorks and is using his platform to encourage youth from historically excluded communities to engage in technology. It's okay to not know. Try it out. You just might find that you can be successful at it. Corey?
Thank you so much for that. As you can see, I'm very passionate about this opportunity, and it's an inspiration. You all are an inspiration, because when I see you, I see myself. A young man who never envisioned doing this. It was so easy to do the wrong thing that it feels even better to do the right thing. And so when I talk to young people about GenesisWorks, for me, this is not selling you something. It's really trying to inspire you to reach out and do something different. If you heard my bio, nothing of what I've done is affiliated with technology in my mind. Everything I do is around leadership. But when I was introduced to GenesisWorks and the technological piece of it, it was an inspiration because it was something out of my comfort zone. It challenged me. And so now what I do is when I talk to juniors in high school about opportunities, I tell them to challenge themselves. Reach beyond what you thought you could do. And that's what GenesisWorks is here to offer you. We want to give you that opportunity to undergo an 8-week summer training course which is 4 weeks of professional training and then 4 weeks of technical skills. We want to equip you before you are assigned into an internship opportunity that is 12 months. It affords you the opportunity to earn $16,000. How many of you would be interested in that, $16,000? Phenomenal. I know my senior year, I didn't save up any money and I went off to college broke, right? I survived off of $50 a month, right? Because I didn't save. We're here to offer you an opportunity to not only grow in technology, but also explore various careers, because it's not just technology. Technology, as I was telling others earlier, was always talked about as the wave of the future. No, technology is the wave of the now. It's embedded in everything that we do. And if you've learned anything about the pandemic, it forced us to adapt and adjust, right? Not only will you obtain an internship from Genesis Works, but you'll also have the opportunity to explore various careers. Some of you may want to go to a 2-year college. Some of you may want to go to a 4-year college. Some of you might just want to go straight to work. We want to meet you where you're at, right? So when I talk to you with passion. So I want you all, if you're a junior in high school, no GPA requirements. If you are interested in working 20 hours out of the week, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., no weekends, no nights, but you want to learn how to be better and do better and go as far as you can because you know that there's more than one pathway to success, I challenge you to give Genesis Works a try. Thank you all for having me here. I appreciate you, and I hold and honor that. Thank you so much. Blessings.
Fantastic. So with that, we're going to transition into our panel, and we're really thankful to have our panelists here with us today. They come from a variety of different backgrounds and specific different sectors, and so with that, we're going to kind of transition over to some of the questions that we have ahead of time to really make some connections to some of the opportunities that we've already talked about or some that you've already learned about. So with this piece, we're going to go kind of just down the row for the panel here in order. And the first question is just going to be a brief opportunity to introduce yourselves, list your role, your company, organization, and what you do in that role. And so Zach, we'll start with you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Zachary Hurdle. I am a chef. I am an entrepreneur. I am a web developer. I went to the University of St. Thomas. I have a bachelor's in international studies. I'm just kind of all over the place doing food is really a mechanism for me to engage with the community. So through web development, through food, through whatever it is that I'm doing, there's community engagement. So thanks for having me today.
Hi, my name is Catherine Zessman, and I am a senior data processor and customer support specialist at a small tech company in town. My background is actually in food science. Similar, I really enjoy connecting with people through food, but I've learned a lot along the way, and I decided to change career paths and go into the tech industry. I'm excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Ayan. I am an IT data analyst. I previously worked at 3M and I'm currently transitioning into a different role, but sort of still in the data space. But I studied computer science in college and was first introduced to it kind of at your age. So I'm excited to meet you all and to talk today, so yeah.
Hey everybody. My name is Syed. Believe it or not, I was in your guys' seat not too long ago. I graduated from Kennedy back in 2020. And then I was on the fence if I should go to a 4-year or a 2-year. I ended up going to a 2-year. And I joined Genesis Works, and luckily I got an internship at Best Buy. I was there for about 2.5, 3 years. And then they offered me a full-time position as a software engineer. So 3 months in, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm excited to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Amin Gomos, and I currently work as a security architect for LinkedIn. Prior to that, I worked for a company here in town called C.H. Robinson for 15 or so years in various aspects of IT. My background is in technology. I went to college at Southwest Minnesota State University for computer science, but while I was there, I spent most of my time doing theater. Didn't really care for the computer science aspects, but at some point I focused on computer science and ended up making a career of it, and I'm happy to talk to you guys today about tech careers.
Hey everyone, my name is David. I'm a consultant at Digineer, and you might be asking yourself, what does a consultant do? Basically, I help solve problems through software engineering. So I work with software engineers like these folks and help build out software that solves problems. So I just want to share with you, if you're not interested in coding, there are tons of other careers in tech that aren't just for coding. One of the keys to be successful in my role is communication. So whatever you're interested in, there's plenty of opportunities within the tech field. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Real quick, I back up and just introduce myself. My name is Vic Dreyer, and I'm the Senior Director of School Success with Project Lead the Way. We're a national nonprofit that does STEM education K-12. We're in all 50 states and all U.S. territories, and computer science is one of those areas that we have developed content and teacher training for pre-K through 12th grade teachers and students nationwide. In addition to that, here in Minnesota, I'm the board chair for SciMath Min, the organization that is an advocate and advocacy group for STEM education here in the state. So going into our first question for the panelists, what project, product, or problem have you helped solve, or that you're proud most of, or that you felt was most rewarding so far in your career? And you guys can take it as you want. So anybody wants to go first?
I can take a shot at that one. So when I started my career, I worked for a hearing aid manufacturer not too far from here. And the only way to order their products was to call in over the phone, which seemed kind of crazy to me when I started. So one of the things I showed an interest in was online ordering. And this was right around the time where people were ordering more things online through Amazon. And I just showed an interest in that, and that eventually helped lead to a career as a business analyst, helping design online ordering platforms.
I'll go next if y'all are good. Let's see. As a web developer, I have the opportunity to, as I said, work with the community. I worked with a local nonprofit and converted their HTML-based website to WordPress, which was a sort of standard sort of job, but this nonprofit is run by this wonderful older woman who is just giving back to the community endlessly, and I was able to help her continue giving back to the community by having an improved website. Along with that, things like WordPress, y'all may or may not be familiar, Squarespace, Wix, there are so many great low-code, no-code tools, sort of opportunities where you don't have to, to the point earlier, know how to develop per se. You don't have to know how to use a particular programming language. A lot of these things are drag and drop, or I'm sure you've seen the news about ChatGPT and all of that. Anyway, these tools are becoming a lot easier to use, and WordPress is a really great example of that. So that's what I'm proud of.
I can go next. I had a job at Land O'Lakes where I was in the feed industry, and I was a registration specialist, so I had to register all of our animal feed with individual states, and every single state has different regulations around how to do that. So I developed a SharePoint site where I could keep track of all the different regulations internally for Land O'Lakes, and it helped me register and do my job faster. Yeah, proud of that one.
Mine is back in March 2020, when everyone, had to start working from home, we didn't have the capacity to my company at the time to support. We just didn't know how to work from home. Like, it wasn't unique to us, like many other companies at the time. You guys in school, right? Like, we weren't built for that. So a bunch of us had to work tirelessly to try and equip our staff. I mean, we were, sending out calls like, send your laptops, go to Best Buy, buy all the headsets you can. We had to do all this work to get people to be able to work seamlessly from home, and being part of the team that helped make that happen for my org was one of the things I'm most proud of in my career so far.
For me, early on in my career, I was working on a project where we had to send these security devices to an offshore location to our other agents. So I had to kind of figure out how to get these devices onto a freight forwarder, which is a plane that carries cargo to another location, and then kind of figure out how to do that with customs, paperwork, and all that sorts of stuff. So that one was it was a pretty hard task, but I got some help, and it was early on in my career, so it was a good learning experience for sure.
So for me, I'd say probably it was my second year, or beginning of my second year, when I was data analyst. And we used to have, at 3M, we used to have like these test cycles where basically like before you launch any type of product and it goes anywhere in the world, you have to test them in different cycles, like test 1, test 2, test 3. And I was in one of 2 people who was supposed to test one of the products, and the last stage, I remember we had like no data prepared. Everything was a hot mess. And I remember my lead he had like a week. He was gonna go to Hawaii and leave me basically to like lead everything. And I remember it was a very like hard task because like nothing was set up the way that you would generally expect it to be set up. So I had to like wake up like super early in the morning and leave like super late at night just to like make sure everything was set up, and then our test cycle went through and we didn't have to like push any deadlines. And I remember being like super proud of myself, like thinking like, okay, I finally like proved myself. I'm not just this newbie. So I think that would probably be my biggest accomplishment, I think, so.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's really great to hear too that every one of the examples was problem solving or solving a need for somebody. Some of you guys have already alluded to this next question, but what is it that got you hooked on this field, and what kind of education or training have you had to prepare for this career? Mentors, internships, boot camps, college, on-the-job training. Just kind of share that journey and what hooked you in the first time to set you on this projection.
So as I said earlier, I went to the University of St. Thomas. While I was there, I started a business that was hiring my peers, college students, to do chores, not jobs in the community. With that particular business, I had a co-founder who was handling the tech and everything, but I got my first taste of like, oh, okay, this is a WordPress website, this is a webhook, this is how we're going to integrate all these different things. And as I've become more interested in this thing called business, and exploring different types of business, food and beverage or otherwise, I found that I've needed to have a website, take orders, post my products, and I can use, as I said, WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, whatever it might be. But, and now even today, I'm working with, a couple startups and still being exposed to different, again, low-code, no-code tools, continuing to work on my own language usage and ability. So it's just constantly learning, constantly iterating on things I already know and being exposed to new and different tools.
Yeah, I can go. For me, it wasn't one particular thing that made me want to come into the tech industry. As I mentioned, I have a food science degree, and technology plays into many different careers. But I got exposed to things like SharePoint and having to build my own tools because corporations just didn't have time to build those things themselves before I got there. So for me, it was a slow exposure to a lot of different types of tools for me to understand that it was more about what I wanted. I liked the detail-oriented tasks, looking at data and appreciating data quality that really hooked me, I guess.
I gotta say, I knew I wanted to be in IT in high school, but I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do in IT. And then my friend came along and he told me about Genesis Works. So I got to give credit. Genesis Works, it gave me an opportunity. I didn't really know what to expect going into Genesis Works. You know, you have that 3-month training, and then you got the draft day. So once I got drafted and finished the program, I got to Best Buy. So using that experience and the experience and training that I learned from Genesis, I was able to kind of progress and learn more and more.
So for me, just growing up, I was always interested in computers and technology and the like. So I think my path was set for me that I was going to be in computer science. Unfortunately for me, I'm not a developer like some of these folks here. Like, coding is not for me. I hated it. So when I went to school, I just hated everything about computer science, and I didn't want to do it for the rest of my career. And it wasn't until I luckily got a job at a computer repair shop where we build computers, would fix computers, do troubleshooting, those kinds of things, that it got me back into tech again, where I was like, this is what I want to do, not programming. And when I hear about Genesis Works, I'm like, God, I wish I had something like that when I was in high school, because I definitely would have gone into it to get me exposed to different aspects of tech careers. Because in my world back then, tech was just was just coding, right? Like, that was all I knew about. Now when I think about my career, I've had, like, every 2 years I've switched my role, right? And none of it has been coding. Like, there's been so many different aspects of tech that, like, all of us sitting here are representing different areas, and we don't touch the, like, we really haven't even scratched the surface of what's available out there. So just to chime in, take advantage, if you're interested in it but not sure what you want to do, take advantage of something like Genesis Works to help you explore what career pathways are there in tech.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I had no idea I wanted to be in technology. I got into technology through being curious and just showing an interest. So that's my biggest recommendation to you. Even if you're not sure, just explore it. Show an interest, give it a shot. For me, it led to a career in international training. So I got to travel around the world training people on how to use software. So for me, that was really what I wanted to do. I studied international business to be able to travel. So for me, on-the-job training and showing an interest and being curious really led to a rewarding career in technology.
From what I was hearing other speakers say is that some of you are sort of involved in like cybersecurity programs or student groups or like computer science, coding. That is like where it really starts, and that's where it started for me. When I was a junior, I was first introduced to computer science through like a linear algebra class, which is not normal for like a normal student, like a normal high school student to go through, and it is a course that's required when you go into college. And I remember that teacher just like taught me about the world of computer science. It was like, oh, and by the time you graduate in 2020, there's going to be like so many jobs, there's not enough people to fill them. And when that started, I basically started going to like programs everywhere and anywhere I could go in terms of like, I guess, like programs for high school students. And then by the time I graduated and went to college, I started joining student groups like the Association of Computing Machinery. It's basically like a computer science program. And they led me to actually SciTech experience, where they were able to fund me to go to a conference, like in different conferences actually, to different parts of the country, where I was able to meet different professionals, different students all over the country, all over the world. And that's actually how I landed my 3M internship. And then from, like, there's just, honestly, I could go on forever about it. But one thing I would say is, like as a student right now, take as much time as you can to like do extracurricular work, as in like going to joining student groups, joining like summer programs, and then when you go into college, continue doing that, and then joining like conferences or whatever, research. So, yeah.
Wonderful, thanks. And that's a great segue into our next question, and some of you guys have already kind of bled into this area. David, we'll start with you and go in reverse order this time, but we have obviously juniors and seniors with us and other classrooms connecting virtually. With these secondary students, what would you say to them about computer science is changing all sectors of careers, not just technology, and those skills that they need to get to be prepared for the new workforce? Also, if they have an interest specifically in computer science or technology careers, what experiences should they seek out? What are those opportunities that they should go after while they're in high school and then as they make their transition?
Yeah, good question. As far as soft skills, I would really recommend communication. No matter what field you're going to land in, whether it's IT or not, but especially in IT, you need to be able to communicate with people in technical aspects and in all kinds of different things. So that's one of the big ones. And as far as training and other opportunities, I recommend any type of mentorship. If you can connect with a mentor, whether it's through GenesisWorks or other types of programs like that that give you hands-on experience, or just someone to bounce ideas off of. You may not be sure what you want to do now, but having someone to bounce some ideas off of and get some experience is a really helpful thing. That helped me in my career to get to where I am today.
For me, I think it's curiosity, right? Be curious about how things work or how this thing, solves this problem. I think having that sort of mindset, just a learning mindset, a growth mindset, if you will, and just being curious, I think is a big enabler of having a successful tech career or getting into tech, just because the technology change, the foundations are still the same, but the technology changes so rapidly, and you can't keep your mind wrapped around, you can't have it all memorized, if you will. So like just having that mindset where you're learning and constantly learning and growing would be helpful. I forgot that last question, but.
No, that's perfect, yeah.
Soft skill, I would probably say networking. You guys are all probably good at that, but networking is a skill that you'll need throughout your whole life. So if you're able to communicate, network, meet new people, hold connections, I think that'll be very helpful, whether if you want to be in IT or if you want to do anything else. Seeking out education, I would say probably going to internships or boot camps. I know if you want to do coding, there's like these 3-month boot camps you can do instead of doing a computer science degree. Or if you want GenesisWorks, they have internships. So there's a ton of opportunities that can get your foot in the door.
I hope I'm not being too repetitive, but I really like the answer about curiosity and continuing to learn. For me, starting in food science after I graduated, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I just wanted to try new things. So I went into the food science world, food industry, tried a few roles for about 5 years, and then decided that wasn't for me and that I wanted to focus more on the data side. But being willing to try and potentially fail, or just being willing to put yourself out there and try something new has really gotten me to where I am today for the tech industry. And then also with that is internships. That's a great way to try what you might want to be doing for the rest of your life. And if you don't like it, you don't like it, and you can try something else. Yeah.
So basically, what skills to be focused on moving into the computer science or any sector? And then the second one is different areas or opportunities to seek out while they're still in school.
I would definitely say soft skills, like everybody has said, communication, being able to hold, a relationship, all of that. I would also say hold on to your hobbies, whatever they are. because you never know how that will sort of balloon out into some bigger, broader opportunity. An example with myself, food and beverage. It's significantly changed in the past even 5 years, 2-3 years with the pandemic. You know, people are ordering a lot more online. Restaurants have changed their models as a result. There's so much going on within that space, and now everybody is a food expert. You know, that's sort of what comes along with that. So if you're in crocheting, if that's your thing, you know, hold on to that. You never know when the crocheting community is gonna blow up, you know.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go quickly. I was just gonna pretty much they hit the nail on all of them. But yeah, like soft skills, networking is gonna be very important because a lot of the knowledge base or the opportunities are with people, they're not just online. So like talking to your teachers, talking to your administration, talking to whoever that you know can get you somewhere or can help you, and that will always be important. And then also instilling in yourself that learning is a lifetime thing. It's not something that ends at high school, it's not something that ends in college. It may change in the way that you learn, but it's gonna be something that you always have to be open to learning, because once you stop learning, you're not growing anymore. And if you're not growing, you're kind of just going the other way. So yeah, all right, that's all.
Awesome. I love that all this is really connected to those interests or those hobbies or the passions you guys have that have led you kind of on this journey, as well as really focusing, and everybody said communication skills. And so a lot of times when you think about tech type positions from another stereotype or something like that to break down those misconceptions, it's working behind a screen and not talking to anybody, which is totally not true. So thank you. The last question is around careers in the sector. And so one of those things that is maybe a misconception that you guys can talk to is that careers in technology are portrayed as really high stress, working long hours, pulling all-nighters, meeting deadlines for rolling out a new product or something like that. Can you talk to that a little bit about your day-to-day work and if that really truly is the day-to-day for you guys?
It depends on the time of the year.
Yeah,
yeah, it really depends on the time of the year, because sometimes like things are very, very slow and you're just like staring at, like you're literally looking for things to do. And then sometimes you're waking up at like, I know some coworkers who wake up at 5 a.m. and they're on meetings at 5 a.m. and they get off at like 10 p.m. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes when things are like really picking up, then it'll be very, very busy, but not all the time. It just happens, just sometimes. But it's kind of nice, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on your role, right? And like, as you say, the time of year, if you're at Best Buy and it's Black Friday time, yeah, it's going to be crunch time, right? Like, but if it's, around this time of year where things are a little calmer, you're probably not pulling all-nighters or, banging on the keys all day. Like, this is my second day back at work for 3 weeks. I've been out for 3 weeks, right? Like, that's not stressful, but if there's a, cybersecurity incident going on, like I think of like last December going into it, there was a big thing that happened where, we were, pulling near all-nighters. So it all just depends. Is it stressful? Sure, but it all can ebb and flow, right? Like I would say, again, it depends, and when you think about different careers, at least you're like, you're not like working in ER or something like that where like, that shift is going to be stressful the whole time. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of times I try to remind myself that I'm working on software. No one's life depends on this, unless of course you're working on like a hospital type of software. It's maybe a different story. But I just try to remind myself, it's not life or death. It's software. So, and then just like we said before, try to cultivate your hobbies and find things that bring you joy and make you happy. So when you are stressed, you have those things to fall back on as well.
Yeah, absolutely, I would agree. Work-life balance is absolutely important. In a corporate setting, it might be a little bit more hard to balance if you're like an employee, or depending on what the terms are, that's up to, check out, everything that entails before you sign on with the company. The same goes with, if you're a contractor, if you're running your own business, you're working with somebody, set those expectations for, the work that you're delivering and how you're communicating with them, you know, just getting on the same page, generally speaking. So I mean, and that also being said, it's on how you're sort of managing your schedule too and your workflow. So if you know, sort of roll out of bed and, you know, to a meeting or whatever, no judgment, but, you know, you gotta sort of hit things early and have a good flow.
Yeah, for me, I actually find my job in the tech industry much less stressful than my jobs in the food industry. And I did it on purpose. I didn't enjoy how stressful and how much I was working in a previous industry. And I think a really good piece of advice that I received along the way is that when I'm interviewing with a company, you should be interviewing that company as well. You should be interviewing your manager, your potential manager, to find out what your work-life balance would be. Like I have deadlines, and yeah, it's all about time management, but I think it's really important that you have open communication with your managers and make sure that they understand what your expectations are coming into the role before you accept the role.
Everybody said pretty much everything I was thinking of, but I would just add, as he was saying, work-life balance is very important, especially if you're working like 8 to 10 hours a day. If you're just staring at the computer, you get a headache. So if you're just like working like an hour, and maybe take 10, 15 minutes, walk outside, go upstairs, do something other than just, you know, staring at the computer. Otherwise, you know, you could really be the detriment, and it's not really good for your health either. So trying to find that good balance between the two.
What is it, like a 45, 15-minute split if you're like working like 45 minutes of like really solid work and then 15-minute break or something like that?
Yeah, I think, yeah. That's what it is.
Thank you guys very much. So with this piece, I'd like to just ask the last question, and a real simple answer probably for most everybody, but if the students in the room and the students that are joining us in the virtual audience, if you had one thing that you hope they take away from today's discussion around the opportunities and the technology fields, what would that be? Yeah, for our students in the audience today, if you had one thing that you hope that they take away or a message around the opportunities and the tech field, what would that be?
I can give it a shot. So my advice is just stay curious, follow your passions, and try to incorporate that into tech. One of the things we've heard today is tech runs through all types of fields. So whatever your interests are, just keep focusing on those, keep cultivating them, keep learning more about it, stay curious, and tech may find its way into that, and you may end up working in a career in technology that you find very rewarding. So that's my advice.
I would say, yeah, kind of similar. I think be curious. Tech is so large, like it's such a large field, and there's so many subfields within that field. And now that you're in high school, and then once you go into college, hopefully if you do want to go to college, or even go to a boot camp, or even start working, whatever you do, just explore. Like there's, from the time now until maybe 10 years from now, like you will be at the time of your life where like learning and being curious is just like looked at as a good thing. Like the longer you go on and more tenured you become, the more professional you become, people are gonna look to you for answers. So now keep asking questions, like explore different areas, and you'll end up somewhere. Like you being here right now is a really good sign, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that, right? Like, tech isn't some special magic hard thing. Like, it's for everyone. So, like, if you're here and you're remotely interested in it, just keep exploring it, right? Like, it's not the future, as you know, Alexandra said. Like, tech is here. You know, tech careers are for everyone. Like, so, like, I just want to implore, like, again, if you're remotely interested, you know, like, you know, work with Genesis Works, reach out to us. Like, I will happily meet anyone on Zoom to help guide them, because I think like the careers that exist within tech like are life-changing, rewarding, and everyone should explore it if they're remotely interested in it.
When I was in high school, whenever I heard tech or IT, I always thought of coding, and I don't like coding at all. I was never really a fan of it. But now looking back, if I could say one thing, it would probably be stay curious, but also seek discomfort. Because you always want to put yourself in uncomfortable positions, because that's where you might find the best of yourself. So whether it's in tech or another field, if it's in college, anywhere, just try to stay curious and seek discomfort.
And along with that, don't get discouraged when you're looking for a job. You might get a lot of no's. That's okay. 100%. Every no. Well, you said it better.
No, I was just going to say, like, any rejection is just leading you to the next acceptance. So never look at it as a bad way.
You guys have all said great answers to this. I guess I want to just repeat that being willing to try new things, that like my background in food science, I didn't think it had anything to do with technology. It definitely does. There's a lot of technology in the food world, and it introduced me to a brand new world, and I am glad that I saw it as an opportunity and left another world to come into technology.
Wonderful. Thank you guys for sharing. Do we have time for a question and answer? Fantastic. Does anybody have a question for one of our panelists, or for all of our panelists? Yeah.
Do you know any coding programs that you can start right now so we can start learning more about maybe IT in general?
There are many. Just pop on LinkedIn. I don't know if you're on LinkedIn, but type in coding internship, or something along those lines. There are a number of companies doing that sort of thing. My only word of caution is that it's moderately predatory. It's kind of, you're doing a lot of work for, little if no pay. So it's sort of a balance, but they're certainly out there. There are many. I don't know any by name, sorry, but if you just hop on LinkedIn, like I said.
Any other input or suggestions on that as far as those resources?
I know, I don't know if it's a boot camp, but Google has like a lot of resources. They have this like program where you pay like, I think $45, $35 a month, and they give access to like all types of courses. So you don't have to, like, you can do cybersecurity, data science, software engineering. Like they have all these different, I don't know exactly like the details of it, but look into that. They have really good resources.
Any other questions? All right. Well, the panel will be sticking around for a little bit, so if you guys want to come down and talk with them or meet with them, you can after we wrap up. With that, again, just want to thank everybody for coming together to make today possible, and thank you so much to our panelists. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day.